To understand this, we need to journey back to the 8th century, a time when the Viking Age was just beginning. These seafaring Scandinavians, known for their longships, started to venture out from their homelands of modern-day Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. They sailed to lands far and wide, not just for exploration, but also for trade, and unfortunately, for raiding. The Viking raids were not just about plunder, they were also about capturing people. These captives, known as thralls, were the unfortunate victims of Viking slave trading. And yes, many of these thralls were white, hailing from the British Isles, Eastern Europe, and even from within Scandinavia itself. From the 8th to the 11th century, the Vikings conducted numerous raids throughout Europe. These ventures were not random acts of violence. They were strategic, often targeting monasteries and villages, places that were usually undefended and filled with potential thralls. The Viking raids were not just about plunder, they were also about capturing people. These captives, known as thralls, were the unfortunate victims of Viking slave trading. And yes, many of these thralls were white, hailing from the British Isles, Eastern Europe, and even from within Scandinavia itself. Once captured, these thralls were taken back to the Viking homelands or to bustling slave markets such as the ones in Dublin or Hedeby. There, they were traded for various goods like silver, textiles, and even exotic items like silk and spices. Thralls were used in a variety of roles within Viking society. They worked in households, on farms, in crafts, and sometimes even accompanied their masters on their voyages. Their lives were far from easy, and their freedom could only be gained through manumission, a process where their masters granted them their freedom, or if they managed to escape. The Viking slave trade was a brutal and complex part of their society. It was an integral aspect of their economy and their way of life. It was not until the end of the Viking Age, around the mid-11th century, that this practice began to decline. The rise of Christianity played a significant role in this change, as the new religion frowned upon the enslavement of fellow Christians. To summarize, the Viking Age, often remembered for its warriors, explorers, and traders, also had a darker side. The Vikings were active participants in the slave trade, capturing and trading white people from across Europe. This practice, which lasted for 3 centuries, was a significant part of their society and economy. However, the rise of Christianity and changing societal norms eventually led to its decline. This deep dive into the past reminds us that history is multifaceted, and even the most admired societies have their shadows. So, the next time you think of the Vikings, remember not just the warriors and explorers, but also the thralls, the silent witnesses to this remarkable yet complex era.